man. But there were times I had to get him man to man.
And your favorite team that you guys love to face in your division?
Yours.
Yes, sir.
It's actually games like you play against the Raiders, you might get 3 sacks. When they had Jamarcus Russell, which I did. So I got 3 sacks on them. I got 3 sacks on them in the first half, right?
Yeah.
And I'm ready, and they take Tommy Maddox.
What is going on, everyone? This is West War Room Rivals. I will be your host tonight. I'm Corey. I got the squad in here with me. Happy Austin, Cody, and Caleb. Just look at his face. Just look at that face.
He's so excited right now.
He's so happy about Jaylen Waddle. I'm so happy for him right now. Yeah, see, there it is. So again, guys, West War Room Rivals, thank you again for joining us tonight. We're in the JBW Solutions studio. We'll give sponsorship shout outs real quick. We got Troy and his team over at Field Op Kansas. Make sure to hit him up for all your field and court markings. We have Angie and her team over at Emporia State Federal Credit Union, the War Room's banking of choice. And then we have Jeff and his team at JBW Solutions. Austin's had the hat on. I got the hat on too. And Jeff and his team, day one supporters, and obviously sponsoring this studio. And again, we will do our nightly routine of giving Matt a shout out. Got a chance to talk to Matt today. Told Matt he can't leave the show because Austin would be super sad and lonely. And then they had some fun words back and forth with each other. So Matt, hopefully you get to see this. Jeff, Kim, and Angel, Aiden, we wish you guys the best as well. Boys, how we doing tonight?
I mean, not as well as you are right about now, man. You're like finally excited about free agency.
Yeah, and it's more of just telling Broncos country to chill the hell out. And they finally, just relax, just calm down. So Austin, is America doing anything yet?
They're losing.
Oh, boo.
Oh no, I haven't seen the score yet. What are we losing by?
Runs.
No.
Caleb, how you doing? Caleb, how you doing tonight, Caleb?
I'm good. I'm not quite as good as you, Corey, probably are feeling, but I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy to be here. Excited.
He showed up tonight. It's probably the most that we can expect out of him tonight.
And it's one of those where I keep seeing these offensive linemen, and I'm like, damn, sure would have looked good with the Chargers, Caleb.
Bro, Wyatt
Caleb,
Taylor.
I mean, I'm surprised that you guys didn't get Tiller. I thought he was on the radar.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed, man. That's a story for another day. I don't know if you all saw my mock draft. I knew that was going to happen. I was like, dude, I'm going some freaking O-line, man. Go D-line. Yeah, I'm a little upset about it.
And we'll talk towards the Segi 3. Segi 3 is going to be the best remaining free agents. And there's a couple names in there for you, Caleb, that we may pique your interest on as far as the free agents remaining, as well as best fits for said free agency. So let's get to me, the Broncos fan, and the question for me: Denver lands Jaylen Waddle. Is that a needle mover? It is. That opens up the field a lot more for Cortland Sutton and all that. But I'll give my thoughts here in a little bit. But I do want to hear outside perspective. So let's start with you, because I know you have some stupid stuff to say, because you're not afraid to say stupid stuff. So give me you did say before we went on here that he's the best receiver in AFC West now. So we do have that going for us. So the floor is yours. Have at it.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone else can relate, but you remember when you were young and growing up and you said you wanted to stop at like McDonald's for food, and your parents were always like, we have food at the house.
Right.
I feel like this is Waddle to Denver. Like they already had Waddle on team. Like I don't think he's that much of an upgrade to Troy Franklin.
I knew it. Stupid shit.
I mean, Waddle had a good rookie year. He was force fed and he averaged less than 10 yards a catch. He did blow up his second year, and then he's just been mediocre as a Dolphin, which again, you can blame Tua, you can blame other stuff. But like even the Dolphins didn't think he was him, so they traded 5 draft picks and made Tyreek the highest paid receiver in football to go get a guy that was him. So we said it before. I mean, he would be the best receiver on the Chiefs, and I wouldn't have been happy if the Chiefs made the similar trade but traded 29 instead of 30. But I haven't liked Waddle at Bama. He didn't change my stance didn't change in the NFL, so I don't know why it would change now that he's a Bronco. That's for sure. But I thought the receiver room was fine for Denver. I liked what they had. They have a lot of resources in their receiver room as far as, I believe they traded up to get Mims. They drafted Pat Bryant with a high pick, invested some money and stuff into Cortland Sutton. So, it's the same with the Chiefs. You have a lot of resources and capital in the receiver room already. So, I don't know. It's not a needle mover for me. Like, as a Chiefs fan, I'm not any more worried today than I was yesterday to face the Broncos.
Okay. I don't know where to go with that take, but I think it's very interesting. So is your position that Jaylen Waddle isn't that good of a receiver because you're also dubbing him the best receiver in the AFC West?
The AFC West is trash. Like, if we were to name all of our team receivers, that's not exactly like.
And just to be clear, we're not including tight ends, right?
We're talking just actual listed receivers, not tight ends who act as receivers.
None of this Jimmy Grant arbitration argument, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I think he is, he's a good receiver, but again, I don't think he is a massive upgrade given what they gave up. It makes your receiver room deeper, which helps. You can now battle, you have depth there. So now an injury occurs. Pat Bryant, we don't wish injuries on anyone, but if Pat Bryant can't seem to get over the concussion hill, like, you have depth there now. He's better than anyone you would draft at 30. More than likely. You never know, right? You could find the next Justin Jefferson in the 4th round, but I don't think that's in this draft class. But again, time will tell. But I thought Troy Franklin was very close to a breakout season this last year. I feel like you would have been good running it back with him.
So are we saying that Troy Franklin is the one that's the odd man out of the group?
No,
I don't think so.
Okay.
It won't be. Little Jordan Humphrey won't be on the roster. He'll be like a practice squad. I mean, sure, Sean will probably keep him around, but no, you're keeping Sutton, Waddle, Mims, Franklin, and Bryant.
Not odd man out from the roster, but I do think this cuts into his snaps and target share.
Targets, yes. Snaps, no.
Well, so Austin gave us the Chiefs perspective. Corey, what is your last? You want to go? Okay,
I'll go last because I want to hear your guys's.
All right, Caleb, I'll go next. So I think the amount of picks given up is more of that's interesting because the Broncos now don't have a pick in the 3rd round. Is that right?
First, 3rd, that's it.
Okay.
So you only gave up 2 picks essentially.
And I think really out of the receiving rooms and the ones that we're really talking about is Sutton, Mims, Franklin, and Bryant, right? Out of those 4, we're adding Waddle to that. I think realistically, the way that the end of last season was going for the Broncos, Mims looked to be more of the return specialist that I feel like he's going to fit into. And that's where Waddle more than likely is going to be number 1 on the depth chart behind Sutton. And it's honestly going to remind me, and I don't want to say an old school roster, but you've got 2 ones essentially on the outside, and then you're going to have, whoever the guy is in the slot that can motion or maneuver. I'm not opposed to the movement. In fact, like for Bronco country, I'm surprised that your front office actually pulled the move off because they were dead set on just bringing everyone back and rolling with that. And they finally made some sort of movement. So I think I'm just more shocked that the deal actually went through, and we'll see if physicals pass and all that stuff. But for the most part, I think Jaylen Waddle is a solid receiver. I don't know if he's elite in that respect, but I think top 15, he's going to make a roster better. But I don't know if he's going to be like if you added AJ Brown or Justin Jefferson. I mean, I'd agree with Austin. He's not in that class. And I think like in some respects, it makes the receiver room slightly better. But again, like it just depends on how Davis Webb is going to play call. It depends on what Sean Payton's going to allow him to do and how much of a focal point where will Waddle be. Maybe he's more of a decoy to get more impactful, catches to Franklin. Maybe it helps Sutton not be the number 1 guy to get primary coverage. So, I mean, it's a positive move for Bronco country for sure. And for the AFC West, it's a tough receiver that all of our cornerbacks and secondaries have to now worry about. So
Caleb?
Yeah, so I in a way I like the move for both teams, honestly. The more I've really thought about it, I thought it was kind of a steep going price at first, but the more I've really kind of soaked it in, that's what the Broncos needed. I think they needed another boost in their wide receiver room. And I don't think there was going to be anyone there at pick 30. Essentially right at that, you're almost at the second round right there. And then same with your third and fourth round picks. So I don't think you're giving up as much as most people think. It is still a first round. It is still a third round that you're not going to have. But I like the move for the Broncos. I think it's a good fit. But yeah, I don't have a ton to talk about on this. I'm more sulking because my team didn't make this deal. But yeah, I mean, really, I like the move for both teams. I really do. The Dolphins aren't going to be very good. They're kind of just starting over new is kind of my thought process there. But yeah, I'm curious to see what he does in Denver.
Anyone else got anything on this?
I think I'm just wondering if the Dolphins are going to package this 30th pick to get another top 20 pick. If they're going to try to get another impactful player on a defensive. I'm just curious, just because
they have, I think I saw 7 top 100 picks now, so they're sitting fine.
Well, I'm just wondering if they may package some of those to get a little bit more quality in some young players, because I almost feel like 30, 31, 32, those picks are like not that valuable, so they get thrown in there and packaged, and that's why sometimes you'll see like Baltimore Ravens when they drafted Lamar just got right back in the last pick of the first round, and it was nothing to them but giving up another like day 3 draft pick, So I'm just curious if the Dolphins are going to try to be aggressive and maybe finding a defensive player and maybe an offensive weapon for Willis now that they don't have a Waddle and they only have Achane now on the roster.
Yeah, I don't know. They have so many holes. It's really hard to know if they just use the amount of picks just straight up and enjoy the top 100 or who knows. But I mean, like you said, they have Achane.
Yeah. And that's it.
They should probably, I know if Dolphins fans want, they should probably trade him too. He'd bring the biggest return.
Did you guys see the video that Dez and Drew made?
I did. Yeah. But honestly, if you're going to do a tank and rebuild, why wouldn't you trade your running back too? Anyway, but yeah, we'll get a Waddle perspective from the Broncos guy now.
I have one quick thing I wanted to add in. Sorry.
You're good.
So I saw a cool thing about the Dolphins. I thought, I don't know that you say it's cool. It's kind of crazy.
Cool and Dolphins in the same sentence, isn't it, bro?
Is a wild
right.
statement.
That's why I was like, I probably shouldn't say that. But majority of the Dolphins payroll for the next year or 2 years, almost their top 10 guys are all dead cap. That's crazy.
175 million.
By the way, let's just acknowledge that. Thank you to Sean Payton and the Broncos organization for starting that trend of like dead cap. Who gives a shit? Just do it, And so credit Sean Payton and the Broncos for doing that.
Yeah.
The ball's on those guys. But again, okay. So again, I agreed with like one thing that he said about the whole thing. And again, I'll be the first to admit that I was happy with the receiver room. I didn't think receiver was going to be the priority. Usually when I think that, then that means it's going to be a priority for the Broncos. Now, they were in on running backs this offseason so far. They've been in on a couple of the tight ends. So they know, and again, I told Bronco fans, they know what they needed. So again, they made this move. He's your number 1. Cortland's going to be your number 2. You're looking at Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin probably being your slot. I think Marvin Mims is going to line up a little bit in the backfield at times as a gadget guy. Or you could even see Waddle maybe do some of that stuff out of the backfield as well. So he led the NFL in air yards per catch. So it was 10 plus. So he led the NFL in that this year. He had a great rookie season. Tua, we know about Tua. He's ass. He's garbage. Bo Nix is a good quarterback. Bo Nix is going to get him the ball. Bo Nix will hit him on the deep shots. He's going to bring another dynamic to this offense that the Broncos have been desperately needing for a long time. It's the middle of the field. It's the middle of the field that the Broncos have been so bad. And Evan Ingram was kind of supposed to be that guy last year as far as getting to the middle of the field, being able to get Bo the quick shots. That's Sean Payton's offense. Sean Payton's offense has always had the middle of the field guy, Marcus Colston, Mike Thomas. So now you add in Jaylen Waddle. You have Cortland Sutton, who's still a 1,000-yard receiver. You have Jaylen Waddle, who can end up being a 1,200-yard guy if used correctly and stays healthy. He's only missed 8 games. I think it's 78 of 86 games he's played in his career. So he's, for the most part, durable. I know he had some issues last season. Most players typically do. And that's fine. Denver typically is pretty good as far as getting most of the injuries taken care of, minus JK and Dre Greenlaw. But that's near here nor there. This opens up Cortland Sutton. This is huge for Marvin. I think it's huge for Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin. More Troy Franklin in the sense of he's going to get a chance to learn from Jaylen Waddle. He's going to learn how to become more of a route runner, because I do think Cortland's going to play 1 or 2 more years in Denver, and then they'll decide he either retires and or he moves on. So then you're going to probably move Troy Franklin or Pat Bryant outside. So then Jaylen Waddle is going to be a Bronco for some time. You're in a window. You have to be aggressive. You're going to make questionable trades as this, but you have to be aggressive. You told your fans you were going to be aggressive. You're going to trade the 30th overall pick. It's essentially an early second round, essentially. You're giving up that 3rd round. You're swapping out 4th round. So it's 2 picks. Did they offer that for A.J. Brown? I don't know. And again, I told you guys on the lives multiple times, if it was A.J. Brown or Jaylen Waddle, I don't think we needed to make the move, but I would be okay if we did. So here we are. I do think this moves the needle, because now you're going to build in a little confidence with your other receivers as far as, hey, a little pressure's coming off of us because now we have this guy on the outside who's going to be able to open up the field for us. He's going to be that guy that maybe, coaches up some of those younger guys. Sean and Davis Webb are going to know how to use this guy. I think he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver for Denver this season. I think he can be that good. I think this is good for Evan Ingram. So again, you're putting in those playmakers, and this is a move you have to make. You have to be aggressive. Did I agree with it? No, but I'm happy for it. Denver fans, that's all we've been waiting for, was that one move, and here we are. So I do think this helps Denver's case for AFC West and staying atop of the AFC West. But again, there's still holes Denver needs to work on over the next course of the few months leading into training camp. But A+ move for me. You're going to have to give up stuff to get good players like this, and Denver's in that window. You got to do it.
Okay. I mean, I think we just need to see what the roster is going to look like come, for week 1. Everything seems interesting on paper. I think what I'm curious in is, and I think I'm just throwing this out there, not because I don't think it's going to happen, but Cortland Sutton, is he now somebody that maybe you look to move off of?
Nope.
I get.
They're not making any more trades as far as they're going to keep as is. They're only going to add via free agency. Portland's not going to get traded. He does have he does have the most value out of the receiver room now to trade. Mm-hmm. But you don't make this trade for Jaylen Waddle just to move on from Cortland Sutton. That's a 1,000-yard receiver you're pairing Jaylen Waddle with. So now you have a duo that you can work with. You don't have to free up cap. You still have money.
Would you have rather the Broncos put a package together with picks to get Bryce Hall rather than Jaylen Waddle?
No, because Breece Hall is going to demand 2 first-round picks. That's a little different.
Well, I'm just going to get an exercise with you, because you guys gave me this when it came to, I can't remember what team. I think we were talking about Detroit or some team that's probably going to get a top 30. It's first round, but it's a top 30 pick. If the Broncos are on the trajectory that you guys are hoping for, deep in the playoff, AFC West champions, AFC champions, Super Bowl potentially, what is 2 first-round picks that are going to be end of day 1 draft picks, but you guys get a franchise running back?
I'm not going to play the what-if game. They're not going to give up 2 first-round picks for Breece Hall. There's no reason to play the what-if game, right? They're not going to trade for Breece Hall. The Jets put an unrealistic offer out there for Breece Hall to get moved. And then you're going to have to – they didn't pay Kenneth Walker the money that he got, and Breece Hall is going to get more than Kenneth Walker was going to get. So – yeah, what's 2 first-round picks? You're right. You do have a point, but you're not going to trade 2 first-round picks on top of paying him north of probably $15 to $18 million. Just
interesting thought perspective. I'm curious, does anyone know what Jaylen Waddle's cap impact is? I don't know this off.
I just looked at it earlier.
Yeah, I don't have it off the top of my head. I'm just asking for the sake of the conversation.
16 this year, and then it goes up to 27 the final 2 years, I think.
But you can still give him like an extension
and stretch it out. Yeah. I can see like a restructure. I guess the more the argument is like if they don't need receiver, but they maybe needed running back. I guess I'm just thinking of it of a different perspective. If they would have given up the 2 first, gotten Breece Hall, kind of getting what they actually wanted in free agency, does that then move the needle further than getting a Waddle? I guess is my only question.
So
you know
2026, it's a 4.9 million cap hit, which is 17 million cash. Next year's 27 million with 24 million cash. 30 mil cap hit, 27 mil cash, and then 2029. So I mean, you have him through 2029 possibly. More than likely it'll be 2028. Then you're going to work an extension out to maybe spread some of that cash out. So,
and I'd be shocked if Courtland Sutton's on the roster after this season, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying on the TikTok live earlier. Is I don't think Courtland goes past this season.
Right.
But to answer your question, Cody, since he didn't play the what if game with you, I will say if Broncos made a move, no matter what the package was, I will say if Broncos added Breece Hall over Jaylen Waddle, to me, that's what I would have said was a needle mover for me personally, because I liked your receiver room, and now you add arguably one of the better running backs who's just dying in a shit organization.
Right.
To me, that would have been terrifying to have that in that offense. Because no offense to J.K. Dobbins, Breece Hall's better than Dobbins. And that Broncos offense was pretty decent when Dobbins was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had a run game, and that's when like they were okay. So a Breece Hall addition for me, like as an opposing fan, that would have moved the needle a lot more for me as an opposing fan.
Yeah, I think just for the sake of the argument, if Denver was willing to pull the trigger on this kind of a trade, and again, I'm not even saying this to disparage Waddle. I do think he's a good receiver. I think he will do well with the Broncos with that offense. Bo Nix, I think it'll do much better than what he did with Tua. All things considered, there's only been 2 seasons where Waddle hasn't had 1,000 yards in his career. So I think he could be back in that neighborhood in terms of stats. But, again, like if the Broncos are willing to pull the trigger on that, what if they would have just gone one little bit further for Breece Hall? Because that was the eye of the prize for Denver. And essentially he would have been a match made in heaven for this kind of offense, in my opinion, at least from the start of free agency, because he was on the top of your list. I'm sure a lot of other Broncos fans, he was on the top of their list. So I guess I'm just curious, like, I get it. 2 first rounds is a steep price, but at where those first round picks would have been selected at, what's it to give away a 30th pick, Yeah.
I mean, we hear what you're saying. You didn't have to, we know what you were saying. It's just, I mean, you're not going to give up 2 first round picks for any running back. I don't care who it is.
You guys know I just love to hear myself talk. That's all I asked you again. That's why.
Well, that's where I thought my brother was going to start. He was finding his inner Kanye. All right, now to me with the question for me so I can answer. But yeah, no, again, Jaylen Waddle is a good receiver.
Right.
Again, I think Denver had a cupboard full of relatively similar ones. But if you go to add what Davis Webb can do on top of the depth, again, you're not wrong. A 30th pick is really essentially very top of the day 2 draft picks anymore, just given the lack of deep talent. I still think the money spots is spots 40 through 100 in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So 30 really is kind of that no man's land where you feel like you're either going to be reaching a little bit,
sure,
or maybe have to accept someone who falls to you.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's never a bad thing to add someone like Waddle. Just from the whole scheme of things, even giving away 2 picks, I still think there's some spots that Denver needs not only maybe a quality piece, but some depth pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get a little froggy. So I think you're spot on of let's see how the roster looks post-draft, kind of getting closer to training camps and stuff to really get a full vibe off of the Waddle trade.
Yeah.
Because I still think they need, a 3rd linebacker for sure. I know that as a Chiefs fan, we have 2 you're comfortable in, and then after that, you're like, well, what are we doing? You probably still need a little interior D-line help, which, again, there's been some Cam Jordan rumors, but I think we need to see how the roster plays out before probably giving a full, honest Waddle trade grade.
And I have a funny feeling, and I think we mentioned this, well, one of the times I was late to the episode when we were talking about free agency, when training camp comes closer and there's different roster moves post-draft, that could be like where they actually make more productive signings for their immediate team rather than let everyone else fight day one for the premium free agents and overspend like some teams did. And then, maybe they find value in players that are trying to prove it, that they just needed to wait until, all the dust settled and then they can go after them.
I will say, as a Chiefs fan, given the last decade, I do think it's a move. From Denver's perspective, it is a smart move because, like he said, you are in win now. You are going to go get it. If you felt like you needed an explosive person, maybe he's not the true receiver one.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever you think he falls receiver two. If you were just looking for an explosive receiver, well, you got one. Yeah. Who cares where you think, whether he's receiver 12 or receiver 30, you did get someone who was explosive.
Yeah.
So again, when you're in this championship window, rookie quarterback contract, you are going to make moves like this. Sometimes Chiefs have made moves pretty similar to that. I mean, that's what you do when you're in a championship window.
Yeah.
No matter how I feel about Waddle,
sure,
these moves like this are made. So this falls into that category.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say on it, and Corey, we move on to the next segment when you're ready, but I think what's scary is we just kind of talked about Sutton's probably on the way out following the season. And then the receiver in waiting essentially under the wing of Sutton is going to be Pat Bryant. That's probably going to fill into that role that Sutton was at. And then it still leaves Waddle for a couple more seasons to be productive. Neither one of them have to be the one, but you still got that guy that could be what Sutton is. And you still got Waddle who can maneuver within the motion, go into the slot, do a bunch of different things, and they still be productive. And in fact, in a way, kind of get younger, especially once, if this is Sutton's last year.
And again, there's no bigger Marvin Mims fan than I am, but Marvin Mims isn't Jaylen Waddle.
No.
You can say Marvin Mims this, Marvin Mims that. I saw my mom say Mims is better. Stop it. I'm not going to claim you for that one.
It's Oklahoma.
Jaylen Waddle's a 4-3 guy. He's going to get under those deep passes that Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin couldn't quite get to last year. Bo's still got to work a little bit on the deep throw, but again, I love Bo's deep. They at least take the shots. Now you have that guy that can catch these, and he's another guy that can take the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and he can make an explosive play. It's different aspects of the offense, which makes he is better than any receiver Denver has. And again, you can say what you want about the other guys. There's no one on the team that is anywhere near the skill set that he is as far as the speed. Troy Franklin's not speed.
I didn't know you were going to say speed. I thought you were going to say like just overall receiver wise. But I do want to answer Denver Dev, even though it's Broncos and I'm already tired of the Broncos this week. Christian Harris would be a solid pickup. He is an athletic he's kind of never really been given a fair opportunity for what his role should be.
Definitely underused.
Maybe misused for sure.
Misused, that's the correct term.
But Christian Harris, I think that would fit pretty well. He could kind of go in a hybrid role as a pass rusher / cover guy. As a Chiefs fan, he's actually someone I've been keeping an eye on. Just because, again, I mentioned Chiefs also need a third linebacker that you can feel comfortable with. So if I'd like him for the Chiefs, I don't know why I wouldn't like him for Denver.
Well, and I think the Chiefs and even the Broncos, and I think the jury's still out basically on the new Chargers defensive coordinator. But if they were to still have Jesse Minter, I think you have 3 of those defensive coordinators that would know how to utilize a player like Christian Harris. And I think that's why we're so fortunate is that we've built such a great coaching staff.
We're so fortunate. Hey, Cody, that's why we're fortunate.
The jury's still out on Cody. Jury's still out on Leonard, on Rob. And again, but when you have an old school defensive coordinator like Spags, who's already used to moving guys around the field, and then obviously Vance Joseph's aggressive at times with how he runs those linebackers and speed and edge guys. Yeah, Christian Harris is a guy that could absolutely be like a super utility guy in both of those schemes. So yeah, that's a great name, and it's a great one to keep track of, especially if you're a team that's in a position for that linebacker.
Okay, Drewski.
Drewski wants to know, would you have rather had Waddle or Wilson? I think I'd know the answer, but
who do you think I would say?
Now you would say Waddle.
No,
I think you would have won
Wilson.
Yeah, I wanted Garrett Wilson actually.
Yeah. I think Wilson is the more talented between the two, and that would I would have thought that you would want Wilson if there was an option for two.
Yes, but Wilson doesn't have the speed Jaylen Waddle has, but he can bring in some other aspects of. He can be that short yardage, that that quick stick route guy that has the hands, and he can still burn you. If the route tree, and again with Jaylen Waddle, it's all about his get off speed, right? Like he has the quick work and he can get around you and he can go. That's what made the Dolphins' offense so fast and dangerous. Is those guys don't really necessarily run those specific routes; they just go.
Right.
No, I mean it's Garrett Wilson by a landslide. But what I mentioned earlier, Wilson maybe doesn't fit what you're looking for.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you're looking for explosiveness, you are going to take Waddle. That doesn't mean Waddle's better than Garrett Wilson. That just means Waddle fits better with what we're looking for. Because, I mean, that's not even – I guess it might be me. That's no content. Garrett Wilson
would be more of a Sean Payton guy because he can run those slant route, those middle of the field routes that Sean Payton loves with Michael Thomas, right?
Mm-hmm. Garrett Wilson has looked like a top receiver for the damn Jets.
Yeah, with all those shitty quarterbacks.
Now imagine him going to – honestly, any other team, let alone a team like a Sean Payton-led team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a landslide, Wilson, on that one.
Yeah. So, okay, we've spent a lot of time on – let's get to these other shit stains. AFC West free agency grades. So we're not – Broncos get a B-. That's it. That's all you need to know out of that one.
Technically an F still because
I still like all the guys they brought back. So I'm still taking that into consideration and throw the trade in there. B-.
Pretty much, he didn't do his homework, but because he aced the quiz and the quiz had more points available, it's still a passing grade.
So I'm going to go least to first. I'm going to start with the Chargers real quick. And it's not that the Chargers haven't, right? They've brought in outside guys. And I think Caleb's been very vocal on his disappointment in some of them outside of the Biotish one, right? Like we saw Biotish and we're thinking, holy shit, they're actually going to do this damn thing. They're going to get these guys. But then you see guard. And then the one you told me on the live the other night, Wyatt Teller signs today. So give me your Chargers grade for free agency so far. And maybe, let's just keep it with grades right now since we're doing remaining free agents here shortly.
So I liked some of the moves, like Corey was saying. I really liked the Wyatt. I'm stuck on the Wyatt Taylor thing.
You were already ready.
I was ready for it.
Caleb was waiting.
I'm super excited about the Biotish move. I thought that filled a massive need. I think our guards now, we can have someone that's not quite as good and still be more serviceable than last. Say that again.
They did get strange, but I like the. Yeah, maybe
it's still better than Beckham.
It is. Yeah,
that doesn't take too much, right, Caleb?
No, it does not.
You're looking for a brick wall. You're just looking for improvement.
He's so damn hurt with what happened last year. He wants the damn brick walls back there. It's the best available or nobody.
This is going to seem like a brick wall, though. You got to think about that.
That's true. Remember, Caleb, like the Biotish one, you go from 40 all the way down to 14. So now you're looking at like 50, 60, down 20s? Like 20s. Yeah, I think that
you're like below average to average, right?
Yeah.
Girl's name.
Hey, but like you were saying with the Cole Strange thing, I've really thought about this, and I went back and I listened to Joe Ortiz, the Chargers GM. I went back and listened to his press conference at the Combine, and he was talking about how McDaniel has a couple different ideas in mind as far as like protections and how different ideas as far as protecting Justin on those passing downs. And I think he has a plan in mind that a lot of Chargers fans don't necessarily see. And I think that is by bringing in some other guy like Alec Ingold or doing different kind of different movements on the O-line, get him out of the pocket occasionally, like do some different things there. And for the money, I like the deals we've made. I was a little questionable on the Cole Strange one at first. I'm coming to terms with it. I think we'll still attack that in the draft pretty heavily. But Trevor Penning, too, that one was questionable for me. But I love the Alec Ingold signing, love the Charlie Collier signing, Biotish, and Dalvin Tomlinson for me. I know Austin.
You were stoked.
I was pretty stoked about that one. I think he fits a massive need that we have right now. We lost a couple D linemen. One Deshaun Hand signed with the Falcons, and Otito Abonia signed with Dallas. So that's
What a
hell of a name. I love that.
yeah, I know.
What's he doing to me?
I was gonna say, I beg your finest pardon. What is he doing?
Caleb, I have a quick question for you on this real quick. So we talked a lot about, teams panic buying, right? Like they're blowing money fast, EMFing.
Yep.
Were you expecting them to blow? Like they had quite a bit of money. We obviously knew that, but were you expecting them to maybe do the panic buy for some of these offensive linemen? Or are you not surprised that they kind of sat back and have kind of watched some of the top tier guys kind of sign elsewhere?
So at first I was kind of expecting us to make like one splash signing kind of deal. But the more I thought about it, like going back to his first 2 years there, Joe Ortiz and Jim Harbaugh, they never spent a lot of money on anybody. Like they just never did. They had these small deals, get these serviceable guys. They perform better than their contract. Look at J.K. Dobbins. That was his first decent year in a while. And then ended up having a really, really good season, as well as among other guys. I mean, look at Odafe Owe. We got him for essentially a 5th-round pick and then that kind of thing. So really thinking back, it makes sense why we haven't done that. And it kind of hurts me a little bit, but yes, it makes sense. It makes complete sense financially.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I saw a comment and I knew I was going to ask you because you're at least for the most part a level-headed Chargers fan. I just want you to let me know if you agree that Keaton Mitchell is the next Darren Sproles or not.
So I don't think he's the next Darren Sproles. Quite honest, I love Darren Sproles. Don't get me wrong. I love the Keaton Mitchell signing, though. I think that's a good fit for our backfield, that kind of thing. I thought we paid him a little more than I expected, which it wasn't anything crazy still. We signed him for like $4 or $5 million per season, something like that.
I would take that.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I love the move. Don't get me wrong, but Darren Sproles for me, he's one of the top tier guys.
Yeah,
You're talking about his favorite guy right now.
Because I read that and I'm like, the disrespect for Darren Sproles.
No, he could be a Darren Sproles-esque. He could be Darren Sproles.
Is he like a gadget running back? Is that what they're referring to?
He's fast, but like Darren Sproles was just great at everything, though. Like he had more pop than people realized. He wasn't just a speed dude. So yeah, no, it blew my mind where I'm like, if this dude was Darren Sproles, somebody would have paid him more than $5 million and he would have been their lead back.
Olathe, Kansas legend.
Yeah. So no, I saw that comment. I'm like, that's wild to me because like Darren Sproles was an OG.
That is definitely wild. That's a wild take. That's beyond be a fan take, in my opinion. But
yeah. So let's get to and we see Jeff in the comments. Shout out to Jeff. Hello, Hepe. Always good to see Jeff in here. Jeff, how you feeling about Jaylen Waddle? I know you're stoked about it.
He's a Broncos fan.
So let's get to Caleb. Who do we want to go with? Chargers or Raiders? I'll let you pick.
We just did Chargers.
Or Raiders and Chiefs. They're both the same.
We'll go Chiefs. I hate the Raiders more. No, I'm just kidding.
Hell yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
so we see Kim in the chat as well. Kim, how you guys doing? It's good to see you guys in here. So let's do the Chiefs. Obviously, their big one's Kenneth Walker. And the one that I really liked for the Chiefs was Tonga. That was probably my favorite one. I do hate seeing them get Kenneth Walker, but give the Chiefs your free agent grade, and you've kind of already told us your favorite signing of it. But if you want to remind people who your favorite one was.
Yeah, real quick. Caleb, actually give a letter grade. Thanks, Drewski.
Oh, my bad. I completely forgot. I'll go C plus, just because we got Biotish more than anything.
That's fair. Your turn.
Yeah. No, the grade for me is tough because I don't. They did more than I expected they were going to be able to do. So it's like my initial thought is like, hell yeah, A plus, right? Because they were a little strapped for cash. We knew restructures could come, so you thought they could get one, maybe two quality people. But they got arguably the best running back in free agency.
I think number one.
Yeah, I mean, it depends your style, whether him or ETN, what's your preference. But and I didn't want to sound just like a biased dude. So like, hey,
I'll say it. He was the number one running back.
He was.
There you go.
So you got the number one running back in free agency, but then you also added a quality D lineman. You added a nickel corner who can, if he's healthy and gets back to his healthy form, it's going to be a sneaky nickel cornerback for them. Then you go and add a quality starting safety. You're able to re-sign Tyquan and bring Kels back. So they did a lot more than I expected. With that being said, though, I still think they didn't attack the truest, biggest need of this team, which is what I think they took the biggest step back from success-wise is pass rush. You know, they were always one of the top 5 teams during their success. And this last year, they were struggling to get 20 sacks in a season. That I don't care how good your offense is. I don't care how good Patrick Mahomes is. You're going to be very hard pressed for success if you're at the bottom of the league in sacks. Your lack of sacks, it really hurt your third down defense, which took a massive step back, which is another big one for success. And your turnovers, you don't get pressure. You don't force those chaos plays, those, maybe errant throws. So a lot of things took a step back with the lack of pass rush. So not attacking their biggest need, I think I'm going to give them just a straight up B, because I do think they made great moves, but until I see what we do with pass rush, I don't think many of these signings are going to make a whole lot of difference. So just a straight up B. My favorite signing, I don't know if a re-signing matters. No, I don't think anyone's going to take on that contract. And if Chiefs are going to eat his money, they're just going to keep him. Again, he's one of the ones where unless a team takes on his contract, Chiefs would rather just pay him and have him than ship him out. So, but they need to do something pass rush, and if they walk away from the draft with like a Reuben Bain, okay, then, maybe your whole plan, came full circle and really panned out. But as of right now, with just the free agent signings, B, Tyquan Thornton's my favorite one. If they would just use him, I think he's an easy 1,000-yard receiver. The dude was always open. I don't know if he was a secret, like nobody just knew about him, but dude was always just open. If I have to go with a new one, this is actually going to be surprising, but I actually like the Kader Kohu signing. That dude was an absolute dog with the Dolphins before his injury. So I like those low risk, very high reward signings. We have a true legitimate nickel corner if he regains form. And I think that's huge given the fact that we lost our top 3 corners to begin with. So I like them all, but I think that one could end up being the best if things pan out.
So before we get to everybody else, don't forget, if you're new in here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like this, share this out. Keep the subs growing. We're over 400 now, so we want to keep going, keep growing. And I do have a follow-up with the Chiefs. They lost a lot as well. So I know the big question mark is, did they do enough to replace what they've lost? Now, Kenneth Walker on offense, I think, is an upgrade in itself. But then you look at the defensive side, you lose your 2 top corners. I think Jaylen. Yeah, that's so.
Watson, Williams, and Duffy.
Williams, that's right. That was the last one, basically, after what the Rams done. Do you guys think the Chiefs did enough? Because I still think the Chiefs are a playoff team. Do I think they make the Super Bowl? Not a chance. And it's one of those where I say not a chance now. That doesn't mean it can't. Like you said earlier with the Broncos, you got to wait and see how the rest of this plays out. But as of right now, I would say no. But I do think that they make a playoff push. We'll start with you. Yes or no? Chiefs playoff team, or do the Chiefs maybe get back to a Super Bowl run? Super Bowl caliber. We'll call it Super Bowl caliber, not a run.
I think they can get to the playoffs, but again, without a pass rush, I like the Chiefs corners.
Exactly.
Emmett Thomas, I think, is the most underrated defensive back coach, if not any kind of position coach in football. Just look what he's done since his time here. So I'm not too concerned with corners unless we're only going to average a sack a game. I don't care who your corners are. If you don't get pressure, that's tough. So right now, playoff team, yes. Super Bowl run, no.
Cody?
I think with Mahomes and Reed, they're a playoff team just as is. I think Super Bowl caliber, I think there's a lot of teams, or not a lot of teams. I think there's more teams that are Super Bowl caliber that they need to catch up to. That I don't know if this offseason and this draft, they get up to that level. Maybe one more year. I think they're back in the race of things because you get another season with maybe the draft picks that they get, maybe Mahomes a full year post injury, assuming he stays healthy. Hopefully he does. And then you get to see like your younger receivers. Cause I think that big question mark over the Chiefs about Rashee Rice, what's going to happen with him? You got to see if Xavier Worthy takes a huge step forward. Also, who is the successor from Travis Kelce, who's a big part of that offense. So I think that's where I'm like, there's a big gap between playoff caliber and playoffs. The Chiefs are in the playoff realm. I think next year they'll be in that discussion again if Reed decides to stay and they move forward with their wanting to get better and get back on their run like they did before. That's what I think.
I do think a good question to come of that, just to make note of. I do think a good segue will be to actually who we think are the true Super Bowl contenders from the AFC.
Yeah, 1,000%.
We got a lot of offseason left, boys.
No, I know, but I just wanted to note that because we can remove Patriots and Bills immediately.
Denver, Dev, Mahomes is going to be ready for week 1. So that's all the update you need to know as far as his injury goes. He's fine. He's good to go.
Even if he's not 100% though.
Justin Fields is a name to watch.
We got Fields that can fill in a week or two.
And I even think with Mahomes back, I think you're going to see Justin Fields on the field.
As like a gadget play.
It was because
receiver one.
I about confused myself. I said Fields on the field. So anyway, but Caleb, you real quick, are the Chiefs the playoff caliber or are they Super Bowl run?
Or neither.
Or neither.
I think they're playoff caliber right now. I mean, they dang near made it last year with everybody beat up, that kind of thing, to the playoffs. I'll have to see how they do in the draft and how their approach is in order for me to say Super Bowl run or not. But they're definitely a playoff team in my eyes. And as far as the Fields things goes, look at him in the past 2 seasons in his first 2 weeks of the season. He's actually been really good. Even when he was with the Steelers, he won 4 straight games in his year there. And then last year, he was actually really good in that first game, ironically against the Steelers. So, I mean, if he has to step in for a week or two, he's pretty serviceable. Definitely for 2 weeks. Definitely
he's better than Minshew. No offense.
Yes.
All right, let's get to the last
legend.
Game. Speaking of legends and Raiders, let's talk Raiders real quick. And Cody, you again, I love the video that you made a video the other night after the Max Crosby thing. So we're going into this assuming Max isn't traded. So let's go into this with the mindset of Max is on your roster. So we can essentially count him technically towards your free agents class because, again, he's coming back with this group. So give me your grade for the – well, you got to give your grade for the – oh, you did.
I did. Straight B.
Yeah, straight B. So, Cody, I want to hear your grade for the Raiders and maybe give me 1 or 2 of the guys that you may be excited for that's not Max Crosby.
I think one of the things I need to caveat with is I feel like I need to give 2 grades. One is the actual players that the Raiders have signed. I think that's different than what I'll say the grade I want to give John Spytek for how he's handled free agency and the moves that he's done. I feel like John Spytek, as an executive, as a GM, I give him an A for the moves that he made, being able to pull the trigger on Max Crosby, acquiring talent. I feel like he did a great job. I want to give that grade separate to the players and the roster that the Raiders have formed. Because I think still, as much excitement as I have with Taron Johnson, Linderbaum, Pay, Walker, Dean, all these other great guys that I think are going to be productive, I still don't think this makes the Raiders a playoff team by any means. I feel like that they are great players to continue the rebuild to push us forward. So for that, I'm going to say, and I'm going to be very conservative when I say this, it's like a B, borderline B minus. And here's why. The positions that we addressed like the linebacking situation, which has been a problem for us for several years. We have 2 linebackers now that are tackling machines. They're going to be able to guard the sidelines. That's very important compared to the linebackers that we've recently had where they really aren't suitable for modern offenses to guard against. I really like the Taron Johnson acquisition. I feel like that's going to help in the 3-4 defensive scheme that Leonard wants to run. Some of the things I wish they would have addressed more is like safety. I feel like we maybe could have spent in that area. But again, if we get that in the draft, I think all is forgiven. But I still think B to B minus because these players on paper look great. But again, as I repeat, on paper, we need to see what training camp looks like. We need to see preseason. I need to see them healthy on the week 1 roster, and I need to see them productive. This is all great in the offseason when no records matter of anything. It's when you get on the field that it really comes ahead. Linderbaum, all intents purposes, we kind of already know Mendoza is going to be the number 1 quarterback off the board to the Raiders. So I'm not going to act like whatever quarterback fills in. Linderbaum is going to be a huge piece for Mendoza, but that does not mean that the Raiders are ready to win this season. They're not going to know how to be a proper team quite yet. That's where Kubiak is going to build that culture in through losing, through struggle. But you got to have certain guys in place. I feel like these are the guys for the locker room to be productive, but that does not mean that we are in the neighborhood of the Broncos, of the Chiefs, of whatever AFC team. I'll even throw the Chargers. I think you guys are still also a playoff team. No, the Chargers are still a playoff team. But I still don't think that we're in that company yet. Have we made great positive moves that makes the fan base excited? Sure. But I'm also old enough to remember last season when we traded for Geno Smith, half the fan base was thinking that we were so back as well. And Geno Smith led the league in interceptions, and we traded him to the Jets. Thank God. And so now it's like, we got to wait to see how the season plays out. We can't just assume that, oh, it's all going to work. That doesn't happen all the time. You got to put the work in for it to come out. So I'm going to give a conservative B to B minus for the Raiders.
So one of the, I'll ask this to anybody actually. Does this remind you of like the Jaguars Liam Cohen style, like where they'd go out and they'd be the highest spenders? Does that like remind you guys of what the Jaguars used to do? Like, and again, that means that didn't translate to the wins, right? Like, right. They'd go out, they'd be the highest spenders, but they'd still only end up with 7 or 8 wins.
Well, to your point, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Every offseason, there is 1 or 2 teams that are ultra aggressive in free agency. They go out and get the top player, give them the top money, make the record deals or whatever. And when they get them on the team, it doesn't really move the needle for that team in a whole because they spent their money on one player. To Austin's point, what he's made several times is just not enough value to go around if you have all your money in one player, right? But yeah, like this is very reminiscent. But bad teams do this though, and no bones about it. The Raiders were a bad team last year. The only way that you get free agents to come to you, hopefully they help turn the culture around, is you gotta spend the money. We didn't allocate almost $100 million in cap space to sit on our ass and not do anything. You know, like you got to be aggressive and you got to be one of those teams that spend to look like you're desperate, because hell, you are desperate. I mean, we're almost at 6 years of not making the wild card on our 6th head coach. And honestly, what's funny is this GM has lasted 2 years. Can't say the same for the other couple of GMs. So where the Raiders are at, this is kind of like, yeah, I expect them to spend a lot in free agency.
Yeah, you've been hurt a little too much, and I think you're overthinking this. We're just, how have you done in free agency right now? We'll have like a post like mid-season how'd free agency go type feel, but you've been hurt a little too much, because like I think worst case grade for the Raiders is a B+, and I think the only reason you could keep it from like an A- or better is just because I do think the positions they did overpay for maybe aren't the ones you like would technically overpay for. And not even just Linderbaum, like your linebackers, like you said, are those ones really worth overpaying or anything? Whatever. But you've been hurt too much to like stay way too conservative. Like in free agency, the Raiders did what they were supposed to do. Who knows how it turns out? But right now, the Raiders have absolutely crushed free agency, the free agency part of it. So you can tell you've just been hurt too much by it. It's really it.
Well, again, and I don't want to be, because I was that guy last year that was excited about Geno, thinking we're one quarterback away from being in a playoff contention or whatever. And thank you for being more of a Raiders fan than I am about the signings. But again, yeah, you're right. I am jaded by it because as excited as I am about literally all the premium names that I feel like are going to make an impact on the team, in what direction, we don't know. But I also don't want to fall in love with the fantasy of like, oh, what could be? Because I don't know. I hope that this works out. We're going to pay a hell of a lot of money for it too.
With what you have right now, though, because it could very much be a shit show come regular season.
Well, that's why the conservative part is like, look, like what they did to move this thing forward, I like a lot. That's why Spytech to me gets a really high grade for being aggressive, making the moves I think was right for the team. But the signings in general, like, were there other players I thought like maybe I would have liked to see on the Raiders, but that doesn't mean that they were going to get them. But again, I understand the point.
You did what you were supposed to do. You had a shit ton of money. You needed a lot of players on your roster, and you spent said money to get a lot of decent to better than decent. I'm not going to rate them all. Like, you got more. Every signing you did was at least a decent player or better. So you
kind of like what we talked about. We went from below average to average now. So.
Well, I think you got a lot of players that were better than average. I didn't want to lump them all into just really good people. But I give Raiders kudos. Like, they did what they were supposed to do so far.
Right.
If it pans out, who knows? But like, I still think right now they're a clear-cut top 1, 2, or 3 as far as free agency goes. You've just been hurt so much. I get it. Okay?
I have. We all can't be in the Super Bowl every other year, Austin. Some of us have to be in the basement for 25, 30 years, okay?
My whole life.
Yeah,
my whole life.
So I'm going to push these couple of topics here. If we decide to do a show tomorrow, or we can push it to next week, we'll skip the remaining free agent ones because I do want to get to, as we're coming up on an hour, we spent quite a bit of time on the Jaylen Waddle thing at the beginning, which I don't blame us. So I want to get to Segi 4. I want to get to Cody's March Madness bracket because, again, I'm super stoked for this. This is going to start dropping on Thursday, I believe. So, again, for those of you that didn't get a chance to see this on Sunday night, Cody, take it away from here, buddy. I'll let you kind of talk about it.
All right. So, obviously, Thursday kicks off the official March Madness, if I'm understanding that correctly, right? Because
yeah, you get to play games tonight tomorrow. That doesn't count. Well, it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
The official one's there.
Yeah.
Here we have our AFC West edition March Madness bracket, and this in 4 different quadrants of the region. So on the top left, we got the champion regions. Caleb, you weren't on Sunday, so I got to tell you this, man. The only championship I was able to find was the 94 AFC championship game victory. So I threw that in there. It is unfortunately the 8th seed, and you guys are going up against when the Chiefs won the first Super Bowl in the Mahomes era. So I'm so sorry, but it is what it is.
Dude.
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, though, I threw in my Raiders Super Bowl 32, or was it 32, 34 loss or whatever, when they got their asses beat by the Buccaneers. So if that makes you feel any better, that is in there, but it is in the Super Bowl. I could have thrown the Niners and Chargers in there, but I thought let's just keep it a win with, the 94.
Yeah, you could have thrown the Chargers AFL championship in there, like 1963 or something like that.
I could have, because honestly, like Super Bowl 11, when of course I was there when that game happened, because I saw the Raiders beat the Purple Eaters. So anyway, so the left top quadrant is the championship region, of course. What was funny, as Austin pointed out, is he actually potentially has back-to-back Chief matchups. So seedings 4 and 5 are 2 Super Bowl wins on the Chiefs. So one of those is going to get knocked out. And then at the top there, the 1 and 8 seed, unfortunately, I think we know where that's going to go. But when that moves on, it's going to be Chiefs and Chiefs again, and he's going to knock himself out. So that's the only funny part about it. Anyways, down below, the iconic play. Huh?
Hilarious.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
okay.
I did too.
Iconic play. So if you guys remember in our group chat when I wanted like your guys' favorite play that comes to mind from the team, and then also too, I got some plays in history. So in this one, and I'll actually do this right here. So we got obviously DT to Demaryius Thomas, the Raiders beating the Chiefs Christmas Day. It's my favorite day. Von Miller strip sack, Dante Hall's punt return, Champ Bailey 100-yard pick six, Darren Sproles game-winning touchdown over the Colts, Elway helicopter run, and then Justin Herbert's deep touchdown pass to the Giants is on here. So this is iconic play region. Next one over on the opposite end starts with legendary season. So these are seasons that you gave me that were impactful that you guys have watched, and I also pulled some other ones as well. So we got LT's touchdown record, and then, of course, my Raiders' unexpected 2021 season when they made the wild card they weren't supposed to. Antonio Gates' touchdown record, Chiefs drafting Derek Johnson, Terrell Davis.
Johnson.
That's right. Terrell Davis, hopefully soon to be Westy Bestie if he can get on here. 2,000-yard rushing season, and then the Raiders' 2016 season, and then 2 Broncos going back-to-back, which is Peyton Manning, 55 touchdowns, and Broncos drafting Bo Nix, because Matt and Corey obviously have to face each other in this round. And then last one.
55th touchdown one, too.
Julius Thomas.
I knew you knew it.
Sorry.
Julius Thomas.
Yeah. He's like, what was the question? Oh, Julius Thomas? I heard Corey say it.
Oops.
We probably all would have got it. Anyways, so rivalry and chaos. This one is a pretty fun one. So the Raiders eliminating the Chargers week 18, 2021. Caleb, sorry, but I love that day. However, I got yours, Chargers drafting LT, which essentially started your guys' trajectory. And then this one, Caleb, you might remember this. I'm sure you were around during this time. Chargers epic in Miami in 1981. I'm sure you remember that way back in the day. Just like I remember the sea of hands from the Raiders in 76. I was there. I was in the stands. So watch the whole thing. And then we have Raiders, Jerry Rice at the time getting his touchdown record versus the Broncos on a Monday Night Football game, which was, by the way, one of my favorite games to watch. And then the Broncos, the drive in 97.
Yeah.
And then Chiefs comeback win over the Chargers in 2018. And then their 13-second comeback win over the Bills, again in the same seating.
Yep. All my texts to Cody are knocking themselves out.
That Chiefs 13-second one might actually end up coming out of this region, I think.
See,
honestly, that one is pretty iconic. It literally led to rule changes in the NFL.
I was thinking seed 6 and 7, and these kind of like, those are your upset ones. Like the drive is iconic, no matter who you're a fan of.
Right.
Are you sure that's not 1987? I think it's 1987.
Is it 87?
The one against the Browns.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, I don't think it was 97.
Either way, the drive is iconic, no matter what year it took place. More iconic than Niner legend Jerry Rice doing something good for the Raiders. But yeah,
it was on Monday Night Football in the silver and black.
Yeah, 6 and 7, and these are like those upset ones where like you're going over
6 or 7. Is that what you said? 6 or 7?
But yeah, 6 and 7.
Boobs.
6 and 7 definitely are those underdog favorites in the bracket, I think.
Yeah, so that is the AFC West March Madness bracket. So spent a lot of time on it. I tried to do my best to make sure that they were seen and popped. And I had a crazy idea. I shot you guys. I'm going to try to still keep it to the vest, but I'm working on it still. And we're going to have the first leg of it drop on Thursday, of course, with the round 1 matchup, second matchup being round 2, so on and so forth. And then you guys are going to vote on what your guys' favorite matchups to move on. And I can't wait to see what the championship is going to be and who's going to represent out of what quadrant. So it's very interesting.
To the guy who's older than dirt, he confirmed that it was 87.
Yeah, see, I thought so.
Okay, we'll fix that. I'll fix that in post.
Easy fix.
None of us were alive, so we were kind of just guessing.
What are you talking about? I just said I was there in the stands of the Sea of Hands in 76. I was there with my buddy Jerry.
I guess Caleb and I are the babies of the group. Never mind.
In more ways than others.
Tough.
Just kidding. Love you guys. So again, and thanks again to everyone in the chat tonight. Again, I know there was a lot of combos.
No vote for you, Austin.
Going on. Nacho Fries, thank you for tuning in as well. Drewski, you guys keeping the chat alive over there. So again, fun episode tonight. Obviously, a lot of moves going on in the AFC West so far. The last, obviously, Chiefs yesterday with Fields and the Broncos taking forever, but it happens. And again, there's still a lot of offseason to go. Mm-hmm. So again, Caleb, me and you are still like on the same boat of like the free agency out there, and there's still a list of remaining free agents, and we'll get to that at different times. So it's been over an hour tonight. We've had a lot of fun. So there's been some good discussions, even if Austin doesn't agree.
I had zero fun talking about Waddle,
which means he had a lot of fun. So
he
he's just
had more fun than anyone here.
He's just a grumpy old man who kicks at kids when they're on his yard. So that's just who he is.
And now I'm not getting milk. Like this just keeps getting worse.
Isn't that child abuse? You're not supposed to kick children. Did I miss something?
Yeah. So Caleb, we'll start with you. Any final words before we get out of here tonight?
No, I had fun, man. Ready to get back after it, man.
Well, hold on. I'm going to be a friend here, and you have something that you've been working on behind the scenes. It's
That's
not
kind of why I started with him, and he failed.
Yeah. So,
well, no, I didn't want to.
Nothing. Whatever.
Epic fail. I would have started
be like,
easily with all these other guys, but I started with you first. You, and you failed.
Are we talking about his
It's
playground?
about you all, man. It's about us.
well, we want to talk about the playpen, but we also want to talk about what you've been working on behind the scenes on another sport that you've been promoting that we've been trying to help you promote. That's what Corey was alley-ooping to you, and unfortunately you LeBron'd it. So
Well, thank you.
My guy.
Hardcore LeBron.
My guy.
We should just get a
bad.
big LeBron. We
I
need to get a little graphic that says LeBron.
and it's not even a photo of him alley-ooping, it's him flopping. Unfortunately
That's what we can do.
You'll have
So-
so many options.
That's
of
what I'm-
images to choose
That's what I'm
from.
saying. So like this NFL season, when someone says something so stupid in our little debates that we do, we just have a media button over here that we hit, and we bring up LeBron just flopping and crying, and that means you got LeBron.
You know how little stupid stuff I want to say if that were to happen? Because I don't want LeBron.
Exactly. So Caleb, let's try this again. Any final words, Caleb, before we get out of here tonight from you?
Yes. So I'm super excited. I've been working, me and my best friend, my college basketball teammate, we're starting a new podcast as well. So we'll be doing that maybe like one day a week, maybe one day every 2 weeks. Love for you all to check it out. It's called Center Court with Colin and Caleb. Super excited for it. We'd love for you all to tune in. Our first episode will be released this weekend. So super excited. Again, y'all check us out. Follow us on all socials. We're on YouTube. We don't have any videos yet, but give us a subscribe on YouTube. Follow on all socials. Super excited, and thankful for you guys. I thank you guys a lot. You have helped a ton. Thank you, Cody, too.
I've supported none of it. I actually didn't even know it was a thing. So I will give a follow and sub.
As you said it like 5 to 10 times in our group text.
I don't listen to you guys when you type.
But I think go ahead, Cody.
I was just going to ask, Caleb, is the podcast focused in the NBA? Or do you guys talk about college basketball as well? What does the Center Pod podcast talk about?
So we're going to talk a little bit about NBA, a little bit about college, and we're also going to we're working on it. We're going to try and break down some film. So get a little video, break down some plays, that kind of deal. It'll probably be like 30-minute, 45-minute episodes. We're not going to go.
What are the
crazy
chances that
long,
you show your tats on a live?
I'll be so pissed.
For real. Not on this
yeah.
show, but you're going to do on the yeah. What are the chances we see your Kevin Durant tattoos?
Negative. No, I'm just kidding. Negative 0.
So
Negative.
one of two things that this is kind of a bigger thing. So Caleb's still going to be here with the War Room.
He's not leaving us.
He's not leaving us.
We just want to make that clear.
Make it very clear.
Sure.
Caleb knows his
Very
schedule.
clear.
Caleb knows that he's still on the show. Matt's still on the show. We got a chance. Like I said earlier, we talked to Matt this morning. He's good spirits, and we miss him. We still miss him. I'd much rather have him on here talking with me about Jaylen Waddle than these guys. But
wow.
So first things first, Caleb's still on the show. Second thing is this is part of a bigger plan that we have. Well, not we, Cody. This is Cody's kind of. So Austin and I came up with this. Cody's coming up with the next step of what the War Room is. And Cody, I don't know how deep you want to get into it with as far as the network stuff goes, but again, this is just step one of what we're doing here. So I encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel. And then, do you have something before Cody?
I just want to ask to give Jeff enough time. Jeff, am I going to see you in Arizona in May, golfing with Garrett Bowles? Now, Cody, you can take over.
Okay. Well, when I see Jeff's answer, then I'll make sure it pops up on the screen. But yeah, so not to get too much into the weeds of it because we're still in the planning stages. I know I've shared with all of you guys what we're thinking, but the eventual hope is we get to a point with how the channel is growing, that we add more shows to not West War Room Rivals. That is essentially the flagship show, but we have a network where we have other shows of other sports like basketball, maybe baseball, maybe any other sports that create more debate, conversation, because in sports is a lot of hot takes, rivalries, which is like what we want to promote. And so the hope is that we get to a point where we are having more discussions beyond the NFL, beyond the AFC West. And when we get to a point where we feel like we're ready to launch it, we'll give more into that. But that is the future. So credit to the Shoviks for having the brainchild of this, where we've gotten to a point and been really fortunate to have sponsors like JBW, athletes that we've interviewed. Now the next step is to have the vision to see if we can now take this to make it bigger, so that way we can expand it further. So that's the hope. And thankfully with Corey and Austin, Caleb and Matt, all the contributions of you guys being able to even make it possible, and it's supporters like JBW, Emporia, Field Ops, the sponsors we had before that maybe haven't renewed, and the new ones that we're going to have, it is all because of that and you guys that make that even a reality. So that's some of the inside baseball stuff, no pun intended, but that's what we're hoping for. And it's a lot of hard work that the guys are doing behind the scenes, but also, again, I still don't want to not give credit to the Shoviks for this even being a reality way back then when they thought of this. So.
Well, I think the one thing is the goal is to do this full time, and you can do this full time when you have multiple shows, which Cody was like, why not cover all sports? Austin loves talking baseball. We have another person who loves talking baseball, so that's the baseball operation of it. Caleb's obviously going to start taking over with the basketball side of it. We'll still do the main football one here, but again, you run out of certain things during football season. So while we love talking free agency and we're going to love talking drafts, then there's going to be that void period right there. Mm-hmm. Caleb's going to be able to fill that in with the NBA playoff stuff. Austin would be able to fill that in with the baseball, and we kind of go on from there and there. So yes, the end goal is to do this full time, turn this network into a full-time operation where we can start bringing on other great content creators to build into a full-time network. And again, it's not possible without the current sponsors that we have. We love all of our current sponsors, but we're also shooting for bigger things here because this is taking off more than we thought it would. Mm-hmm. We're at a bigger, better place than we thought we would be 10 months in. So again, this is just the start of it. And the fact that we're able to actually start maybe, and I told Cody this because he was kind of questioning it at first. This is a good problem. This is a good thing to have right now. We're at a point where we never thought we'd get to be where we're at here with this. So the end goal is full-time network shows. You guys are getting just peppered with shows from each of us. So big things are coming. And again, let's see, Jeff, JBW is great, growing by leaps and bounds. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but looking forward to helping you expand later this year. So again, Jeff's been with us from day one. He's still believing in us. It's crazy. I don't know. And then Kim's trying to convince Jeff to go to Arizona. Austin's going to be there. He's ready. He's just got his golf traveling case.
I even had to get I guess I needed a new ID. I'm not one who likes to fly. So apparently you have to have a special ID to do that. So
you guys need a real ID in Missouri?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's mostly everywhere, isn't it?
I thought California was the only special ones that had to get a real ID.
Yeah, no, I had to. I mean, I had everything there, so I got it when we moved out here. So
yeah, but I had to do that. I got my golf travel bag. I already got the scramble team put together, the hotel booked, the flights booked. We're ready. Another golf trip or a round of golf this weekend on the books. We're ready.
It's gonna be It's gonna be a warm Saturday. So Austin should not go pro in golf.
Well, that's rude.
I would pay to see Austin go pro in golf.
He's actually better than me at golf. I can actually, that's one thing I can actually say he's really.
One thing, come on now.
Well, there's others, but we're not going to get into that. So again, we're rambling on now, so we need to get out of here. But again, if you're new in here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Again, without you guys, this isn't possible. We're not having a chance to grow without you guys. So hit the subscribe button. I encourage you guys to continue to share this out. We've always said, and we've been saying, share out with 2 or 3 of your friends, get them to subscribe. Give them a chance to watch, and they'll buy in. Go subscribe to Caleb's new podcast, Center Court with Colin and Caleb. So again, they have their own little logo. You'll find that. So Breaking news: Patrick Mahomes retires from the NFL. Team exec says decision is due to personal matters, future health concerns, and the Denver Broncos renewed AFC West dominance. Clifton, goddamn Harris, be a fan, Clifton. So again, in the nacho fries, that's bowl. Well, nacho fries. Still, thank you for watching. So again, sponsorship shout outs. Again, Troy and his team at Field Ops Kansas. He's also a Raiders fan, which I just learned not too long ago.
Hell yeah.
So
hell
again,
yeah, brother.
check out his website for your field and court markings in Kansas, Wichita, Kansas City area. And then we have Angie and her team at Emporia State Federal Credit Union, the War Room, and Showbook's Banking of Choice. And then again, as you've seen him very active in our chats tonight, Jeff and his team at JBW Solutions, because again, we are recording live out of the JBW Solutions studios. So again, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Be safe, and we'll see you guys next time.